Hey guys, welcome back to the shop. Welcome back to Worth Guitars. So, I told you about the Explorer build that we're getting ready to do. And this thing is so big that I'm having some trouble dealing with the strangeness of the size. So, these are my build sheets. I do these build specification sheets so that I can keep up with stuff. And this one is actually for Al Buda. Al, if I'm saying your name wrong, my bad. Al's going to be getting a 5-string Evo 2 with a mahogany body and a quilted maple cap with Aguilar 18-volt active electronics. Really nice stuff. We did some for Les Mosley with those pickups in there. All black hardware. We're going to do a quilted maple cap with a mahogany back. We're not going to do grain filler. We're just going to leave the grain and the mahogany on this one with satin finish on it, which will be very cool. Laminated maple neck and an ebony fretboard with glow-in-the-dark fret markers with just regular mother-of-pearl dots on the fretboard for fret markers. And just good old silver nickel medium high frets on that. So that's coming up. So I'm getting ready to get the wood for that together today. I have some wood for that, no problem, because it's a reasonable sized, piece of machinery, the base. So this is the top that we picked out for Jim Bob. Jim Bob Severts is going to get a Explorer style guitar that we call a Nomad. And since we are going to be doing our own version of an Explorer style guitar, in air quotes, I'm going to make it slightly smaller and slightly different than an Explorer style guitar. Not much smaller, but just enough to make it work for the wood that we have, because this is really a big set of flame maple drop top. I call it drop top tops or flat top. Okay, that's big. And an Explorer style guitar will not fit on this, believe it or not, because of this width, that width from there, that center line. See that center line I have drawn on there? Well, it's not drawn, it's cut in with a little V-cut bit. This is the Gibson Explorer size, and it's big. I mean, once you start playing it, it fits, it works. But this dimension from here to here is, hang on, let's see, is, my tape measure is not where it's supposed to be, is, drum roll please, 8 inches, a little over 8 inches. No, wait a minute. Whoa, 10 inches. So it's 10 inches from that center line to that point. That would be a very unusual piece. I could probably get some African mahogany that wide, but I think what I'm going to have to do is do a 3-piece glue up for this body. The problem that bothers me, the mahogany part of it isn't that bad. I can do a 3-piece on there. I can get really good grain match and it'll be good to go. So I'm not worried about that so much. I did have this really nice piece of Honduran, this slab. This Honduras mahogany is super heavy though. Man, this stuff has got some weight to it. So I don't really want to use this for that. I'm going to use it someday. Since that's such a big guitar, I don't want to put a heavy piece of wood on it because it'll be like, you have an anchor chain around your neck while you're trying to jam. And that's cool and everything for 2 songs. You get into about 2 sets, you feel like your neck is coming off. Okay. So, what I'm going to do, here's the situation. 10 inches. I don't have 10 inches on this maple. What I do have is 8.5 inches, which is big, 8 5/8 of an inch across the width of one piece. And as you can see when I lay this down on here, It's not even really long enough because it misses it down here. I can shift this a little bit, but that throws the center line off on the match. Fortunately, on this particular top piece, the way the grain lines up, it can be shifted slightly. So I can make that work, except what happens is the flame doesn't line back up. The grain will work, but the flame don't line back up. And this is a big piece. I bought this hoping that I could use it for this. Well, hope is not a plan, and I shouldn't have been hoping, I should have been knowing. Now, another thing I could do is shift it all the way down as far as I can. I can shorten this little spot here up a bit and inconsequential. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to reduce the size of this angle for our Nomad. What I'm going to do is I'm going to reduce it by about 1.5 inches. So I'm going to pull this down into this region, like that. Right off of there, and then round that over, and that'll kill 1.5 inches of material. That really isn't going to make that much difference on this particular build because we're doing a Nomad. We're not doing an Explorer, right? Right. So that's what I'm going to do. So what I'm going to try to do is go over there in the computer real quick and get that lined up and see if I can find a piece to make a new template and get that going. In the meantime, though, for Jim Bob, I do have, let me find the template for it. Hold on, I gotta get it out of the storage facility over here. This is an Evo base. This gets one of those big old Music Man style pickups on it. And you can put a pick guard on there if you wanted to. But this is what we call an Evo base. Well, the Evo 2 has a carved top and maple cap. So it's not flat across the top. But as you can see, that's a reasonable sized chunk of wood that I can get, going for the boot up. So what I'm going to do today, I'm going to work on getting this template right for Jim Bob so we can make this thing work with the wood that I have with this maple cap material, because I really want to use this, and Jim picked it out and it's super nice and it's going to be really beautiful when it's done. So we're going to make it work. We're going to do a Nomad. We're going to make our own style of an Explorer. And we don't want to be having Gibson up our butt about things anyway, because you know how they are. If you know anything about the past few years, how Gibson went after everyone, especially Dean, for supposedly copying their copyrights or whatever, even though we know that Gibson pretty much copied everybody else too to get where they are, but that's all right. It's not a problem for me. Gibson, it makes nice guitars. It's all good. They just got a little anal about the old copyright thing there for a while, which is their prerogative. Their trademarks. They should go after it, I guess. Anyway, let's get going on this thing. I'll be right back. I'm going to go get another template set up. If I can find a piece of material to make the template out of. Today is a material issue, and I'm going to get going on that. So I'll be right back. Thanks for tuning in. Hey, do me a favor, if you haven't subscribed yet, hit the subscribe button that's down there somewhere on the bottom left of the screen there, which would be your right. Bottom right of the screen, not left. All right, hit that button for me. Subscribe, hit the like button, share it with your friends. We appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in. I'll be right back. Hang tight. template. I had to scrounge up a piece of plywood because I ran out of little pieces of MDF. And as you can see, this used to say Anna's desk on it. We made a desk out of a piece of sapele this shape. And had to take a template to the glass company to get a piece of glass cut for it. This is kind of a crappy piece of plywood, but it does exactly what I need it to do, which is give me an indication of where I am, gives me an indication of where I am on my lumber. As you can see, it still looks like an Explorer, but it's not anymore. It's a Nomad now. Very similar, you know, but not the same. Which is kind of the history of guitars. It's like, for instance, you have Kramer guitars that look exactly like Stratocasters. But they're not Stratocasters. They're not Fenders, they're Kramers. So, you know, what are you going to do? We all copy from each other, right? I mean, a good design is a good design. There's no sense in denying that. So let me get this off of here and we can move on. All right, there is our new pattern. And I just used the V-bit, cut that right through there. V-bits work great for cutting center lines because obviously if you go to the center of the V, you know you're right in the middle. All right, so I'll clean this up later. Let's go back over there and see where we are on our top now. All right, okay. So we're back. This, I just use these little templates to kind of give me an idea of where the curves need to be. This thing here works great, French curve. Back when I used to do everything by hand, you know, I used to cut everything out on the bandsaw and then sand everything. That tool right there was very good to have around. So this is our original Explorer template. And this is the Nomad template. Let me take a few of these sharp edges off of here so I don't jam one of them into my hand. Because that doesn't feel real good. It does not turn the edge off. What I did was I went over into the drawing program and moved some lines around, keeping the essence of the original style, but reducing the size of the monstrosity that it is. And I'll show you what I did. I'm going to line this back up on here. Like that. So there's the size difference. Not a whole lot different. See, that's exactly the same there. This is exactly the same here. But what I did was reduce this wing by moving this line here in and this line up, moving that over, and then I dropped this down 1/4 of an inch right here and pulled that in 1/4 of an inch because I thought it looked a little sleeker this way. So now this is our Nomad guitar. It still maintains the essence of the original design, but you can get a piece of wood that fits it. So, I'll show you what I mean. Now, I can lay this on here now, on this piece of wood, and it fits, right? Let me erase some of these lines that are on here because they're starting to mess with me now. I've got too many lines on the build. And this is the back side. Let's turn it back around to the right side. You can see where we're at. Like this. That's where we're going. Let's get some of these lines off of here. Okay, the whole time I was doing it, I was thinking, why don't I take it over to the drum sander and be done in about 3 seconds? But I was committed. You have to commit, right? You gotta commit. Okay, so now we got a nice clean piece. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Nice clean piece. Right? Beautiful piece of flame maple for the top of our Nomad build. Now, this fits on here very nicely. I'm going to get you over a little closer so you can see what we got happening. You can see that better now. This is our new design, the Nomad, which fits like that. And it's still very tight, as you can see right here. It fits better that way. It's a little wider down on that side. I just have to make sure that when I set this up in the machine over there, no, here we go. This is where we want to be, right here. And I made it so that we miss this little knot, trying to miss it, so it fits inside this like that. Okay? Now this beautiful piece will work, and it'll be easier also to get a mahogany body. The mahogany really wasn't the issue. You know, you can glue up a few pieces of mahogany, you're good. But this is the original design. And as you can see, that was not going to work. We're sticking out over here, we're sticking up over there, and you can't, you can't move it off center. You can't, there was nothing to do with it. All right, so show you something else. See what I mean. This is Travis Gates single cutaway in Olympic white. This will have gold hardware. This one's almost there. I got a little speck of black in the white. I'll tell you what, it's been very difficult to paint this white unless you have perfect conditions, which I do not. Little specks will fly out of the air. I don't know where they come from. They're in the air, obviously. But yeah, so there's a couple little things I need to do, but for the most part, she's good to go. We got plenty of lacquer on the neck and the body now, and this thing's ready for final sanding and buffing. So we got that going. I just thought I'd show you that. She's pretty, very pretty piece. All right, let me put this up. This is for the new base build. I believe this is the right size. Hold on, let me find the, what did I do with that body? Oh, there it is. Yes, this will work. It's actually a little small. I think I got a bigger one somewhere. Okay, here it is. This is for the new base build. So, this is actually a piece of Honduras, and this is a nice lightweight piece. Got plenty of room on there for this size base. Al's base will have quilted cap and, like I said before, the Aguilar active pickups. So there we are. Al, we're gonna start working on this. I gotta get your quilted cap in. Having a little trouble finding pieces that I like, but I got one coming. I believe I have someone looking out for me. And so as soon as that gets here, we can laminate that and get this on the machine and get started cutting some parts for that. In the meantime though, I can start getting your neck laminated, and we'll start that just as soon as possible. I'm gonna go ahead and glue this together, this seam here, so that is ready to go, and set it aside in a safe place. And then I can go ahead and get the body together and start machining the body, because we're going to do electronics groove in there before we put the top on. That way we don't have to try and snake, because the switch is here, so we're going to do a groove in the mahogany, a groove from the switch down and into the electronics cavity, and all that good stuff. So we'll start getting that together this week. Okay? All right, that's all I got for you today, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. I hope everybody's doing well out there. I hope life is treating you good. Be good to each other. Get out and see some live music. Peace. Worth Guitars.